Hello and welcome to the Noise Report, the show where we recommend each other an album and then
Look at them.
Yeah, we
Look at them with our ears.
View them. We view them with our ears and our eyes. And speaking of viewing these albums,
oh my gosh, we're gonna do it this week.
Yeah, we're actually gonna talk about the album art.
Oh my god!
But first, we should probably talk about what albums they are. And then,
That's right.
Yeah.
This week, our album recommendations from last week are Kavinsky's "OutRun," recommended by me,
and Death Grips. Album Exmilitary. So we'll just start off with a quick little talk about this album artwork. So actually, you know what? Maybe we should do the album artwork review in the context of the review. Because in the case of Kavinsky's,
it coincides with the story.
Speaking of Kavinsky, let's just start there right away.
Kavinsky, a French electronic artist producer. This album was released February 22nd, 2013. It's electronic, it's synthwave, it's 80s, it's retro. That's pretty much
neato.
The whole story.
It's at least as neato as a burrito.
Oh my god. A French burrito.
I mean, it might be a bad burrito, you don't know.
You're right.
So let's start out with track one here. It's Prelude.
Very aptly titled.
Yeah, it's like this little like synthy intro with some amazing cheesy campy vocals.
Yeah,
I absolutely love them. They're just like talking about he became one with his car.
Yeah, so I have it written down. This whole album, it's supposed to tell the story of a man, who got hit by a car, and him and the car's souls were spliced and became one. And the only thing that he can do now is drive his car, write sick electronic jams, and fall in love.
Yeah, also his eyes are red now. Because
his eyes are red now because the car is red.
And apparently no one can see him except for the grill that he falls in love with.
Which is said, but then if they have music videos
Yeah.
which don't follow that rule at all.
The music videos proved that was a lie.
Yeah. The only other thing about the story is holy shit, I just forgot. Never mind, you keep talking, I'll remember.
Okay, well, I mean, there really isn't much to say about this track. It's just kind of a little prelude. I mean, like, some of the synth is sufficiently heavy from what I expect out of synthwave. Just kind of makes me feel like really nostalgic for like training montages, but because it's a prelude, it doesn't last very long. It's only about like a minute.
It really makes you
length,
feel like it's gonna be the beginning of the story, especially with the narration. And I remembered what I was gonna say. The album title "OutRun" actually comes from an old, I believe, Sega.
Yeah, it's
Sega game.
Yeah.
And everything revolves around the car Testarossa.
Yes.
Which is prevalent later in the album when we get there after song 2, Blizzard.
I hate this song.
It's pretty boring.
Nothing happens. It's just
my exact words are kind of repetitive. Not much going on.
Yeah. The whole song is boom, boom, do 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 do.
So a big theme throughout this entire album is a grindy Moog bass, 4 on the floor, and a lead synth or guitar. And some songs do it incredibly well, and others do it pretty plain, like Blizzard.
I would say it's not even plain. I like the motif that it's following, but once you've heard it like 60 times in like a single track, it's like, you can stop.
There's
now.
A lot of like it's so well produced and it sounds so good. Like if you're driving in your car and you're listening to this, it's gonna be a jammer. You're gonna like bob along. It's gonna be, but it's not something you're gonna be like, fuck yeah, check out Blizzard. By Kavinsky. Holy shit.
I mean, if you're listening to this track on CD and you're driving in a car, you're gonna think that track 2 is just skipping a lot. Yeah, so
it's got that standard 4 on the floor.
I would say not great. However, the same cannot be said for track 3, which I really enjoy.
Protovision.
It's like super synthwave. This is what I come to expect from synthwave. I mean, it's a little soft from the synthwave that I typically listen to, but that's also to be expected, as he is also like a house producer kind
Yeah,
of.
or French house.
Yeah.
French house.
And that's like Daft Punk stuff for those of you that are uninitiated and bad.
You suck, bitch.
I have in my notes for this track that it literally, listening to the song just feels like driving through a city after dark.
Yeah, I think a lot of these songs do. Especially there's one song later in the album that really gives me off that fucking like, this is a retro, this is 80s, this is nightscape. Like, I'm driving through a fucking city with neon lights right now.
Yeah.
That's later on though. He really loves Moog bass.
Yes.
A really grindy Moog bass. It's
but
in
I
almost
also
every
really
song.
love some.
I also
Moog
love
bass.
grindy Moog bass, so I'm totally okay with it. And,
so let's get a quick shout out to grindy Moog bass.
Can we get a thank you so much.
Papa bless. So this is unrelated to the actual review of the album, but when I was listening to this album on YouTube, this next track was listed as the 4th track.
Yeah, I did. They have the official Kavinsky OutRun playlist, and it's all out of order and includes 2 extra songs.
Yeah, it's a failure.
It's really badly put together. The playlist, not the album.
Yeah. No, the album itself is really. We'll get to that. We'll get to that. No spoilers. Track 4
is supposed to be Odd Look.
Yes, but in the playlist that I listened to, it was First Blood.
Yeah. So the first line I have written down here is, I fucking love ARPs. And so does Kavinsky. He uses ARPs a lot.
I don't know what ARPs are, but...
ARPs are notes in succession that go like...
Oh, yeah. Kind of build up like a
It's a chord, but instead of playing the chord, you play the notes in the chord.
Oh, arpeggios.
Yeah.
Okay.
Yeah, but they're called... Dude, when in doubt, ARP it out.
You could have just said arpeggio.
But that's too big.
It's too Italian. It's too Italian for this French house producer. Get out of here with that Italian shit. ARPs only. I love ARPs. Odd Look is also a pretty solid tune.
Yeah, it's. I think thinking back, recommending this album is kind of hard to actually review, since almost the entire album is just pure electronic music. And it all kind of sounds the same in terms of like the synths being used. It's just like the melodies and the way they're played are different. Yeah, the compositions are different.
The one thing
we said
that
all
I
at the same time.
Yeah,
we're
we did.
trash.
Yeah, we're like on top of things here, not in a good way. But one of the things that I noted about this track is that the vocals are.
Please say hard to understand.
I have interesting with a question mark. I can't even now. I don't know if I love them or hate them. They're very conflicting to me.
I didn't really pay attention to them that much.
Yeah,
I considered them more of like a backing synth than anything.
Honestly, yeah, and they're like so heavily vocoded, I believe.
You can't even understand them.
Really.
I was listening and I'm like, I wish I could understand what they're saying, but I don't care enough.
Yeah, pretty much. I mean, it's still a jamming tune, though.
Yeah, towards the end of the song, too, there's an angelic pluck that comes in that, like, kind of rides along with the bass, and it sounds so cool.
Also...
That's what it sounded like.
Except good. So, also of note is that the music video for this track is it's pretty zesty.
This is the one with the cop, right?
No, that was Protovision was the one with the cop,
you're right. Look, is this the one with the girl?
Yeah, this is the one in the diner, I believe.
Yeah.
And it's actually a pretty kick-ass music video. I thoroughly enjoyed it. It was very campy and 80s.
It's super, it gives you the hard vibe of like 80s effects when like the lightning goes around him and you can tell it's just poorly layered.
And like the bar fight, like it's not really choreographed or anything like that. It just felt like a classic 80s like supernatural action movie.
Yeah, I loved the bartender, like guy behind the counter, when he pulls out the shotgun and he like holds it out, you can tell that that's just like a $10 plastic shotgun.
It's wonderful. It's truly an amazing piece of
cinema.
Yeah, I would recommend the music video alone.
Plus that baby's hot.
I mean, if you're the bar rapist. Yeah.
Speaking of being a bar rapist, the next song, Rampage.
I'm not sure these two are connected, but
Rampage is the next song. Track number 5. Has a super horror movie like intro with that string synth, and then I don't know about you, but when I heard that old school trumpet sound, I was instantly thrown back to like old cartoons.
I fucking loved those horn samples. They were litty as a titty, my dude. Also, on this track, I'm trying to relate this kind of to how you like to do with emotions.
Yes. Yeah, I have those sometimes.
This track I have written here makes it seem like a bad guy from a 1980s cult movie is prowling the streets, ready to just strike fear into the hearts of anyone that he comes across. It's like super cheesy, super campy, and I love it. It's great.
Yeah, I can pretty much completely agree with that. That's pretty much the same vibe I would get. Maybe not specifically that specific, but yeah, pretty close. Pretty damn close.
I mean, it just felt like something out of Big Trouble in Little China.
Yeah.
Which is a great movie if you haven't seen it.
Speaking of which, a lot of these songs actually have been featured in movies.
Yes. Specifically
Drive.
Yeah, specifically
featuring
Drive.
What's his face? I forgot already.
I don't remember.
I saw it, but I mean, I haven't seen the movie, but I saw the name.
Yeah.
Anyway, it's apparently a movie. Go watch it, I guess, if you want to hear Kavinsky's music in it. So yeah. On to the next song, seeing as there's not really much to talk about, as all these songs are kind of alike.
Yeah, so track 6.
This is a different song.
This is bottom of the barrel with Blizzard for me because
I hate this song.
This gentleman that is featured on this track, Havoc, his delivery is decent, but his bars are so goofy as hell.
We have almost the exact same shit written down. I have some of the flow is good, others are. Yeah.
I literally have Havoc's flow is decent, but the bars are goofy as hell. And then I have a quote of one of the bars.
Is it the T one? Please be the T one.
No,
Damn it.
It's cut these fools like pizza pies with extra cheese. And I heard that bar and I'm like, motherfucker, excuse me?
Hold on. I'm actually going to find the line I was thinking of. Because the way he says it is just trash.
Yeah.
Like, okay, the backing is pretty standard. Pretty much the same thing. 80
like
synth moog.
It's like a house and synth.
Arping is really good.
On.
But the whole point of it is supposed to be the rapping. And he just doesn't nail it as well as he probably should.
Yeah, generic hip hop man number 5 does not do very well.
Yeah,
on this
let me
track.
see if I can find the line here. Oh my gosh, it was so funny. When I heard him, yeah. It was right after I cut these fools like piece of pies with extra cheese, make you a memory, have you laid out like the letter T, but the way he says it is more like make a memory, have you laid out like the letter T, and then he like keeps going. It's like, dude, come on, I could have done better, and I don't rap.
And he's white.
So yeah, pretty subpar. More like subparbia.
You're fired after this podcast.
Shit.
I'm finding a new host.
Testarossa Auto Drive is the next song after that piece of trash, and it comes off fucking hype.
Yeah,
I love this
it's pretty
song.
hype. It's total fire, to be honest.
It's all about just fucking being a pumpy ass song trying to hold a fucking great mood.
Yeah. And speaking of that great mood, I'll give you a hint. It's driving in the city at night.
Oh my god, it's almost like every 80s retro synth song kind of feels like driving in the night.
Might be. Might be.
As a lot of the songs are, there's not really a lot going on in terms of like music theory and like harmonization and like dissonance, but it's still good for a jam session.
Yeah, it's pretty jamming, and I mean, there's some layering that comes in.
Yeah.
At certain parts, it's like, yeah.
You're never really going to hear like a chord progression that shocks you out of Kavinsky.
Yeah.
He's always going to do something kind of standard, but the way he uses the standard is what kind of keeps you going.
Yeah, the production is really the highlights here.
Yeah, it's insane.
Most of the actual theory and song structure is fairly standard, but the production really
Is
holds
high
it up.
quality.
Yeah.
And speaking of production, next song, Night Call. Fuck yes, I fucking love this song.
It's really good. Yeah.
And the reason I'm speaking of production is because it was partially produced by
Daft
Guy
Punk.
Manuel, half of Daft Punk.
Yeah.
Daft Punk is one of my favorite bands of all time. Bands, quote unquote.
I mean, they are a band. They do use some live
Yeah,
instrumentation.
of course they do. But artistic duo.
Yes.
I fucking love. This is my favorite song on the whole album.
I would agree with that, yeah. Also, the Love Fox feature is amazing. She does a great job.
Yeah.
The vocoder usage is actually
talk boxes. Okay.
It's so good on this track.
If I'm gonna go out on any tangent, it's gonna be how much I fucking love talk boxes. They make any song 20 times better than it needs to be.
I'm pretty sure this isn't a talk box.
It's a vocoder effect of a talk box.
A talk box is for guitar, though.
No, you can voice a talk box. Justin.
I'm just giving you shit.
It is a vocoder, but it gives me the vibe of a talk box.
Yes,
and like
I would agree with that, yeah.
style that like you can still directly hear the words, but it sounds like it's being layered through a synth 80 times.
Yeah.
Like that shit just makes me nut, dude.
How big are the nuts? Are they fat nuts or are they skinny nuts?
Above average, yeah.
Oh, above average nuts. Okay.
Sadly, the lyricism is kind of boring. Doesn't really make sense. But I'm not here for the lyricism. I'm here for how it feels.
Yeah,
and it feels.
I mean, the vocal melody is good too.
Oh yeah, especially the vocoded part.
Yeah. And again, I actually do really like the Love Fox feature on here. And this is actually, I knew this song before coming to the album, but I didn't know that I knew the song, which is the first time this has happened so far on the podcast.
Really?
Ding, 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 ding. It's
Ding,
a
ding.
first. The achievement unlocked. Yay.
Where do you know where you've heard it before?
No, I have no idea where I've heard it before. I
just
think
heard it?
I think it's probably just on like some stream for some sports
totally.
thing, used as like in between, like, oh yes, we'll be right back music. But it's totally a kick-ass song.
Yeah, I think I first heard a Kavinsky song actually on a Moon stream. Like I think First Blood came on, and I was like, oh, this sounds really cool. I wonder who it is. And I looked it up, and I was like, oh man, this is not bad.
Wow, I could beat my meat to this rhythm.
Thanks, Moon_OW. You're a cool guy.
We're not sponsored.
We're not sponsored. Unless Moon for some reason wants
sponsor
to
us, Moon.
sponsor us.
Come on.
The music doesn't really do much behind the scenes, but it carries the vocals so well. It's such a good song. Just fucking go listen to Night Call. Speaking of First Blood, the next song.
My notes might be off, my good man.
What was your next song?
Dead Cruiser.
Oh shit. My notes are off. Sorry.
Oh, so Dead Cruiser's right?
I actually don't know if Dead Cruiser is on the album. Because there are 2 songs that were added, but they were from a previous EP. So let me look it up.
Were those like Endless and Road Game or something? I don't think it was Endless.
Did I skip a song?
You might have skipped 2 songs, my guy.
2 whole songs?
Because, I mean, I was following that Wikipedia page while listening to this thing a couple times, so...
Let me see. More songs.
I'd like to make a quick shout-out to...
Night Call, Dead Cruiser, Grand... I skipped 2 songs, boys.
All right, well, I'll talk about them. I
mean, I know the album, so...
Dead Cruiser was pretty groovy.
Sick.
Is a nice. Well, no, like groovy as an actual groove.
Yeah, I agree.
Not like groovy as in like, yeah, man, that's totally groovy.
Dude, that's fucking wild.
This was much more of a blend of house and synth than like house and synthwave than previously explored on this album. It was very similar to. You know, I don't actually have anything I can really compare this to because I was gonna say the instrumental on Suburbia, but then I'm like, wait, no, that was actually just a house instrumental with some guy rapping over it. My main issue with this song is that it ends really suddenly and like just kind of cuts itself off.
I hate that.
Yeah, which was kind of unfortunate. But yeah.
Yeah, I agree completely with everything you just said because I totally listen to these songs.
See,
hey, can we get a shout out for the first actual fuck up on the podcast?
Yeah. Shout out to the fuck ups. Yeah.
Lot of first times today.
So Track 10, which you unfortunately missed out on for this review, is a really kick-ass song. It's called Grand Canyon.
It sounds so familiar. I think I have heard it. I just don't remember it.
So I have in my notes. My notes are pretty short for the song, but the canyon in the name must be about the, quote, canyon formed by skyscrapers at night while you're driving through the city. Because this song is literally made for driving past midnight. This is like the jammiest jam for driving past midnight. Like you're out on the street, you're hanging out in your vehicle of choice. Maybe it's a Testarossa, like our Kavinsky
our
character
good friend.
here. Or maybe it's something less dramatic, like a bicycle or a unicycle. You never know. It's still driving.
You could be driving one of those RC cars that are like big enough to hold a little child, but not big enough to hold anyone over like 10.
Yeah, you could be driving one of those, and because of your weight, it's holding you down. But you're still driving.
You're still jamming.
Yeah, and you'd still be jamming to this shit. This is straight fire. I love this song. Okay, let's go on to where your list comes back in. You absolute goofball, you. First Blood.
This is actually the song first originally created for Call of Duty when you get the first kill in a round.
He's lying.
No, it's a fucking hype song, though.
Yeah, it's pretty good.
Okay, I'm not gonna lie. The singer really carries this song. He goes fucking off.
I would agree with that. This is, besides Night Call, this is probably like the catchiest vocal melody, although that doesn't really say
There
much.
is only like 1.5 other songs with vocals.
Yeah, pretty much.
And
Shout out to the French house scene.
Yeah. Woo! I really like this song. The backing synths really fucking push the vocalist. He does really well. And then towards the end of the song, the guitar fills that start coming in. You're like, oh fuck yeah! And then there's just a really good guitar solo at the end. I was surprised. I was like, holy shit! It's like an actual solo.
Yeah, I was actually technically proficient. I was like, hold on, what's going on here?
And you're like, holy shit! Was it the vocalist who did that?
Yeah, it was.
Oh.
He's using a reverse talk box.
He talked the notes and then it came out like a guitar.
Yeah. You haven't seen it yet. It's really experimental technology.
It's like that one. It's like that one guitar pedal that turns every guitar note into a Miku sound.
Nah, dude. It's like when Mr. Krabs is talking on the telephone.
Beep, boop, boop, beep.
Yeah. What's that song? It goes beep boop 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 beep. It's like that.
Speaking of consistent and endless references, endless.
You're missing another one, I think.
What the fuck?
Do you not have Road Game?
Boys, I'm not gonna lie. I fucked up real bad.
I'm firing.
It's my album too.
Yeah, I'm really disappointed in you.
You know what? When I was writing these down,
you were probably thinking, gee, this seems a lot shorter.
Yeah, I was.
That's funny. Funny how that works out.
I think it was because I had to keep skipping around in that fucking YouTube playlist. And I just kept missing songs.
Well, see, here's the thing, right?
Yeah. I know it had them in there. Because I remember looking at it.
Well,
but I was like, why are they in here when they're not fucking on this track list I'm looking at? So I must have just been looking at a bad track list. So what else did I do wrong, Justin? Look me in the eyes and tell me.
You didn't suck my wee-wee.
Here I go.
All right.
Well, Justin, please tell me about Road Game.
Well, the Moog bass absolutely kicks ass on this song. And there's like this really solid string arrangement that like just kind of makes the whole track seem very vast and large and huge. Makes it seem like an absolute unit of the track, absolutely in awe of the size of this lad.
Yeah, I like that.
Yeah, you're fired. So yeah, there's also like a very consistent use of house synths on this track rather than the more traditional synth wavy synths. Yeah, there's a difference. I know. Okay, wow. Yeah, we could talk about Endless now if you want.
Hey guys, it's the last song in the album, Endless. I totally listened apparently to not the whole album. I like this song.
Yeah, it's pretty good. Mostly because, well, for me anyway, it kind of brings a nice vocal conclusion to the story that was set out at the start.
Yeah.
And it's just as campy as the intro, and I'm just like, nut! The only way like these intros and outros could have been any better is if they had like Vincent Price.
Yeah, I'm not gonna lie, the narrator himself really wasn't all that standout.
Yeah.
But the things he was saying were really good. Right after the vocals or the narration in the intro and the opening synth is playing, and then all of a sudden that bass just fucking hits.
Yeah.
Oh my god, that made me feel things. And then power synths and fucking horn synths start to like mix together.
Yeah, it's like a really solid build up.
And then like the art pluck in the background starts to fade away in the back, and it's like echoing out, and the guy comes back in and he's like, you'll never end. And they're like, oh, it's so cool.
Yeah, it's quite good.
It's a really good ending. I like it.
It's a solid ending, yeah. It almost makes the album feel like bookended by cinematic pieces that really kind of help it conclude.
Because he was definitely trying to tell a story. Apparently, I missed a couple chapters.
Yeah, but see, that's actually one of the things that's kind of irritating about this YouTube thing, is that this album is one complete story, and there is nowhere that has that complete story actually in the right order, or even just as a single album upload.
Yeah. Kavinsky, come on, bitch. It's your own fucking track.
Yeah, come on, jack your wiener right onto YouTube and like nut all over it, okay? Just nut the full album right onto YouTube.
Dude, it's been 5 years. Just upload the full album.
Yeah.
I'm calling you out, Kavinsky. So I can listen to your full album, and I can come back and I can talk about the 3 songs I missed. But overall, Justin, what do you think?
I'm voting you off the island. That's what I think. But in conclusion, I give this album a 7.5 out of 10. This is totally my kind of groovy shit. It's not without its flaws. See Blizzard and Suburbia. But it's super kick-ass, and you know, it's not like my favorite kind of synthwave. I prefer my synthwave just a little bit heavier. See like Dan Terminus and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But like this is still a really kick-ass synthwave album, even if it is a little bit on the housey side for me.
Well, Justin, I also gave this album a 7.5 out of 10.
Wow,
even while missing 3 songs.
We're twinning.
My notes are that the production quality is actually incredible. Like, that is the highlight of this album, is how the production quality sounds. The basses are nice, the synths flow together well, the vocals, when they are good, and when the songs go hard, they go fucking hard. You're ready to jam to some of these songs. Not all of them. Looking at you, Suburbia. And my biggest complaint is that no matter how good they are, it's still kind of repetitive and bland in terms of like the actual synths being used. They're all kind of the same, but makes up for it by just being a good old fucking time. And
before we get on,
the album art, we'll never forget.
I ain't forgetting this time. So the album art is actually like a 10 out of 10 match for this album. It really strikes a good vibe with what you're going to expect, as it's got the Kavinsky character, which is actually the name of the zombie rider. Mm-hmm. It's actually Kavinsky, not to be confused with the artist Kavinsky.
Yeah.
He's like standing up on a hill. It's nighttime. He's next to a car that is clearly on and meant to be driven in. I was about to say drive in.
It's Testarossa.
Yeah. And it's just like a perfect like, oh, I guess I'm going to be getting into some jams that are meant for driving at night.
Yeah, imagine like it gives off that hard vibe. Like, I don't want to like put it into this specific style, but think of like, when I think of a music video of like the 80s, I think of Thriller, right?
Yeah.
Like, that's like that feeling. That's kind of the feeling I get from this album cover, is like when I look at that, I'm like, that's 80s, that's jamming, that's what I'm going to get. And that's what you get, surprisingly.
Yeah, it's pretty solid 80s.
Plus, I love the text of Kavinsky, you know, and it's just so nice. Now, Justin, tell us what we're going to talk about now. I did listen to the full album. I know I did, because I listened to it like 8 times.
I'm so happy to hear that.
You're not going to be happy with what I have to say, though.
I don't care. Death Grips! Exmilitary. Well.
It's a debut mixtape.
It is a debut mixtape.
April 25th, 2011, Justin.
Yeah, it's available for free. You can download it on thirdworlds.net. This mixtape is fire, in my opinion.
Experimental hip hop.
Industrial hip hop. It's
Experimental
wild.
industrial hip hop.
There's people that are yelling on it. He's yelling a lot.
And-
he's angry. He's angry as fuck. He's crazy as fuck. He's wild as fuck.
And I do not like this album
That's okay.
at all.
That's all right, man. I can totally understand where you're coming from. This is not
And
an easy
we
listen.
will talk about it starting with track number 1. Beware.
This track is straight fire for me. I fucking love this. It starts with a Charles Manson sample, which is eerie
I
as
did
fuck.
like that. I did dig that.
It's like he's talking about, oh yeah, I'm make the money, man. I roll the nickels. The game is mine. I deal the cards. Beware. So that beware at the intro is actually not from my boy MC Ride, which is the hip hop man on this track. That is actually from a song called God is Watching. And in that song, it's used as beware, God is watching, which is already pretty eerie. And then they later take that God is watching line and distort it to make it sound like God is black flies. This is one of my favorite tracks on the album, and part of that is due to the previously mentioned Mr. Ride's flow, which is absolutely hypnotic. It's like a chant. It's like a cultist chant in a dark chamber, and all of the lyrics are related to dark, culty shit, and I love it. It's totally my jam.
So I can agree with a lot of that, actually. I do like this song. I like the sample at the beginning. The sample at the end is not as cool. Thought it was kind of boring. Like, when I hear the Charles Manson one, I'm like, oh, fuck. And then I heard the last one, I was like, okay, whatever. Who fucking cares?
That last one leads into the next track.
I know it does, but that doesn't make it as good. This song is super aggressive. Like, a constant thing throughout this entire album is just unending verses.
Yes.
This guy never stops talking. And
lyrical bars, my boy.
And the sampling for the actual beat is kind of annoying. With there's like a one sample that like plays consistently throughout the backing of, I think, the chorus, where it's just literally going like whoosh, 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 and I'm like, oh my god.
There isn't really a chorus on this song, but
I mean,
there's the I close my eyes and see
what could be considered the chorus.
Yeah,
none of these songs really have choruses. There's hooks.
Yeah, there's a lot of hooks, but
yeah, I liked it all in all. It was decent.
Not the worst track.
Not the worst track.
Track 2 is Guillotine.
I don't know why this song is so fucking popular.
Because it's a meme.
Oh, thank God.
But it's a meme. It's popular because people like it, and because people like it, they try and like show it to their friends, and their friends just cannot get into it.
This song fucking sucks, by the way. I have one thing to say about this song. Yo!
It goes. Guillotine.
Yeah. So I'm gonna read you the first 2 lines of my notes here. This song is fucking annoying. Yeah.
I'll read you the first 2 lines of my notes. It goes.
Some of the electronic samples in this song are really cool, and especially at the end, it has that like really good,
wild, glitchy. Like
that's the most engaging
chaotic
sound I've heard, like almost in the entire album. It's just super fucking good, but then they ruin it with a "ya" again, so it's like, stop it. Also, the backing beat is just boring. It's really bland. First song, I think I noticed this. The beginning couple songs of this album had really, really bad backing beats. And then halfway through, they just completely flipped around, and the beats are like fucking, they're fire, as the kids say these days. But we'll get there when we get there. Personally, Guillotine is one of my least favorites.
Well, I do like this track.
Well, you're a fucking piece of shit.
That's okay. You can call me that. Also, the lyrics relate to the name of the song, in that a lot of it's about
the guillotine,
murder, and execution,
and death,
and suicide.
Okay, one thing I will give credit to this entire album for is the lyricism.
Yes.
This dude talks a lot, and it all has meaning, except for it goes.
Yeah. So
Yeah.
a lot of his lyrics are based on stream of consciousness writing, which is like just writing down whatever you're thinking, which allows for really, really cryptic lyrics that could just mean anything to
Yeah, I noticed that
anyone.
a lot where people were like trying to describe the
Yeah,
lyrics and they're
yeah.
just like, this has many meanings. I'm
And
like,
it's
okay,
just like,
cool. I don't want to
yeah.
read through all of your fucking fan theories.
So track 3 is Spread Eagle Cross the Block. The opening lyrical part in this I actually have written down in my notes here because this is a funny lyric to me.
Hit it.
I fuck the music, make it come.
Yeah. Yeah. It has a really nice sounding guitar.
Yeah,
I
it
really,
samples a surf rock tune. Yeah.
oh, well, I really like the guitar. Has a super boring bass line. Does absolutely nothing. But the lyricism is really good. This guy really rocks the fucking writing. But I think the whole song would have been way more interesting to listen to if the instrumental had actually done something. But that's like an issue with a lot of hip hop style stuff. It's never supposed to be about the
It's supposed
beat.
to be
It's supposed to be about
setting up
the lyrics and the shit. But I just don't like that kind of music. And I care about the music more than I care about the words most of the time. So
hit.
I also throughout almost the entirety of this album, though this guy has super good lyricism, he's not a bad rapper either. He's got a way to do it, but
he yells like a homeless man.
Not that. I don't care about. That's actually not what I care about. I didn't mind that. It's the inflection of his vocals. Every single line is said almost the exact same way, where he yells and holds out the last word of every single line. You can listen to 8 out of these songs, and I will guarantee you almost every single line is said the exact same way. And that's kind of what started getting to me. I noticed it in this song, and I just kept noticing it throughout the album where he does the exact same thing. And then like there's changes, obviously. There's times where he does it differently, but I just kept noticing that last word being held. And it was getting to me, dude. I was starting to lose it. I also don't like the sampling of the spread eagle across the block. Spread across the block.
Spread eagle across the block. Spread eagle across the block.
Yeah, I didn't like that. It felt weird.
Oh yeah, I mean it's a very odd and experimental thing,
It's very experimental.
Everyone is going to react to it differently. Track 4,
Lord of the Game.
I love this track too. This one is probably tied with Beware as my favorite track on the album. Mostly because this is probably my favorite that MC Ride is actually rapping on. I think this is my favorite delivery that he has, besides on Beware, which is why they're kind of tied. Also, there's a kick-ass sample at the start of it where he samples Arthur Brown, which is an artist from the 60s, who had one hit song called Fire. And in that, he starts it off with, I am the god of hellfire, and I bring you fire. I take you to burn. And they sample the I am the god of hellfire part, and it fits in right with the rhyme scheme.
Yeah, I really like
which
that.
is straight, well, for lack of a better word, fire.
Oh my god. In comparison to the last song, the backing instrumentation was actually a lot more interesting to listen to because it actually did stuff this time.
Yeah.
Instead of just being like a basic beat, it actually like the bass drum was actually like pumping, and like the bass guitar was actually like doing something, and I was happy with that. And the vocal chops weren't that bad either.
Yeah. And also it features Mexican Girl.
She's a drummer, I think, is what I saw.
No.
Really?
No, she is not a drummer. Zach Hill is the drummer.
No. She wasn't drumming for the song.
Oh,
she's just previously.
I
she
haven't
was a drummer
seen her.
for
I
a
haven't
band.
seen her like
I looked it up.
else.
Yeah. She does the vocals on this, but previously she was a drummer.
Yeah. And
That's what I
also
meant.
they sample her vocals in such a way that it's like
Yeah. I like the ending too, where
Yeah.
they both do this shit at the same time.
Yeah, the ending is actually really, really I have written the last verse and outro go fucking hard.
Yeah, I really like that. The only other thing I really have to say is the repetitious inflection of his voice wouldn't be so bad if the verses weren't 20 lines long.
Sure, I can concede that. And
it comes up again later.
yeah, I mean, like I said, this is not an album for everyone, and
But-
you clearly don't like it, and that's fine.
Excuse you, Tachyon, Deathyon. I dig that song.
That song is pretty
I
fire,
fucking
dude.
dig this song.
Tachyon is absolutely amazing.
How
does it move into the bag? Go through the
I literally have like nothing to say about this other than that I dug it.
Yeah, this is totally a jam. I
it's
understand
super
why this
aggressive.
one is super popular.
It's super aggressive. The beats and vocals are like constantly pushing at you, and like the reason I think I like it so much is because it wasn't boring, and the lyricism and flow really carried the song. It was just an all-around like song I could get down to, and I don't really like this kind of music, so if there's a song I like, that means a lot.
Honestly, like how I treat most of these songs is not so much like a hip hop song.
I was trying not to.
Like I treat them much more like hard rock, heavy metal songs where the vocalist just goes really, really fast and never stops talking. Like because a lot of these you can't really treat them as like
I was trying to think about it more as like an underground like electronic artist who was just fucking around on his turntable.
yeah, like a really like an electro punk or
Yeah.
something like that. It's almost like a punk album.
I was like literally I'll start it off with saying I've never heard a Death Grip song before these guys. I've heard about them. I never knew what they did, and when I realized it was hip hop rap, I was like, "Oh boy, can't wait." But then I went into listening to this album thinking, "Don't fucking worry about if it's hip hop or rap, just listen to the songs and give your honest opinion." And these are my honest opinions. I don't really see it as hip hop. I do see it as rap.
Yeah, it's like
But I think about it more as electronic because the whole thing is just sampling, and that's all electronic music like really was for a long time. So
interesting thing about the production on this album is that all three of the band members have their fingers in it, all of them. So they all work somewhat with the production.
that's neat.
It is neat.
I liked Tachyon.
Tachyon is a good track. And the outro works really, really well with the intro to the next little instrumental
I
part.
love the instrumentals.
It's honestly so good, and like, so this instrumental is like
it's called Cutthroat, by the way.
Yeah, it transitions in from the end of Tachyon, and at the end of Tachyon, the outro is like 666 million ways to die.
Yeah.
Choose, and then it goes into Cutthroat, and it's just a sample of MC Ride screaming death, and then that sample like kind of fades in and out throughout the track, and it's like horribly echoed.
Yeah.
And the instrumental is like super good.
Dude, that fucking grinding just sound. That sound
super bassy distortion sound at the end.
Think of Kavinsky, but then put a fucking hard filter on it. Give it overdrive. Yeah, it's like a minute long song. There's not really anything to say about it.
Yeah, it's just kind of a little breather instrumental, which is honestly needed because these tracks
These songs
go
are
so hard.
wild.
They go really hard.
Speaking of hard, this song, Clink. There's some real strong opinions in this song.
I don't care for this track very much.
It's wait, hold on. Is this the one?
This is the one that samples Black Flag and the Castaways, and it's got like this really weird and annoying woo sample that I cannot stand.
So this whole song is just about
police
cops.
brutality.
Yeah.
The
only thing I really have to say is strong opinions in this one. Once again, the only thing really going for it is the lyricism.
Yeah, the lyrics are really strong. Some of the beats on this track I really like.
There's a really cool bit crushed bass drum that I like.
Yeah. And Ride's flow is pretty solid. But like some of the song is about police brutality, but then also some of the song is just like, yes, I'm going to kill cops.
Yeah.
Like, which is kind of conflicting. Like maybe that's why they're so scared around you, man.
Maybe they just know of your past murder.
Yeah, you got to be a killer.
My final note on this is I love that funky breakdown towards the end.
Yeah.
But the ending was actually trash.
Yeah, the ending was pretty trash. So track 8 is like
Culture shock.
Yeah, it's got David Bowie samples on here. Believe it or not, I don't know if you heard them, but it does sample David Bowie.
I have fuck yeah, that vocal edit chop, and then right after it, surprisingly, best part of this song was the sampling.
Yeah, the sampling is super fire, and one of my favorite sampling is the "You need to
the
vibrate
text-to-speech lady
higher." Yeah,
I love the text to speech, especially when it leads in. We'll talk about it at the end. The rapping was super bland in this song. This is the only song I felt like the rapping really wasn't up to par with like the songs before it.
The lyrics were still pretty good though.
Oh yeah, the lyricism's always good.
Yeah, the lyrics on this track are like, yes,
it's all about like society's fucking fear of technology.
Yeah,
and shit.
Like disease. Well, it's about like disease, and some of the lyrics imply that the disease just straight up is technology.
Yeah, it's like the line is like culture shock, future shock, or whatever.
Culture shock. Fuck yourself.
Yeah, that too. But at the end of the song, the text-to-speech lady is like, you need to vibrate higher, and then you need to put yourself into past the world of 2D into 3D and 4D, and then it hits 5D, which is the next song, which is also my favorite song on this album.
It's pretty.
It's not even a song.
Yeah, it's like a little intro break, and there's, I don't know if you could hear it, but in the background, like really, really muffled, it samples Pet Shop Boys' West End Girls.
Really?
Yes.
Oh, I didn't check that.
Straight up. Like the bass line is straight up West End Girls bass line, and then the vocals for West End Girls are just like really muddied and like distorted and shit way in the background, and you can kind of hear them going,
Justin, I have 2 lines written about this little interlude. Interlude transitions from the last song. This is jamming. I love this thing. It was just so unexpected. I was like, oh my god, this is really neat. And then it literally just like cuts off and the next song hits and it's an entirely different emotion.
Yeah. Speaking of which, track 10, my opening line for this track is literally starts on a meme horn. It's just an air horn. It starts on an air horn.
Through the Walls is going to make me punch through my wall with that one.
I like the production on this track a lot. I think a lot of the production is super, super chill. The instrumental at the end is pretty good. I don't really care for Ride's flow on this track at all.
Are you saying the song was chill?
The instrumental at the end was cool.
Oh, okay. Yeah. No, I have the change up in the third verse was super cool.
Yeah. Like I have chill like, written, but I just meant cool.
Yeah, no.
It's not chill as in like, yes,
this song is fucking like on edge. It's super hyper for the most of the beginning.
It's like it's trying to go through the walls.
It literally has 3 verses in a row with no breaks. That could have just been one really big verse. But yeah, it transitions halfway through, or right into the third verse with like just the like beat just like going down to I think just the hi-hat or something. It's just like
yeah,
and it sounded really cool and I dug that. I really the shock from like the cute little fucking interlude that's like super like beautiful to like Through the Walls just smacked me like a road.
Yeah,
I almost said roadhead. I meant roadblock.
It's like good from an album perspective because it snaps you back to what you're looking for.
Like it just
Through the Walls just is definitely not my favorite track.
Nah, it's decent. Not subpar, decent.
Track 11 is known for it.
I hate this song.
Ooh, I better get rid of that star I got on my page. Don't worry about it. This isn't one of my super favorite tracks on the song, but like,
this is not my least favorite song on the album. I'll give you that much.
I like the sample. I like the sample at the beginning. Like
I have the synth sound is super good.
Yeah, it's like a nice psychedelic synth
The
sound.
second verse, the bass gets really active, and that sounds good. But there's not much going for this song, except for me, the only thing I really noticed is that twice towards the end, it might just be me, but I love rhyming the word "it" with the word "it" 13 times in a row. That just that's
dude. You're just not known for it, dude. I don't think it was meant to be a rhyme at that point.
It wasn't, but like
it's just meant to be a rhythmic.
I just kept hearing "it," and I'm like,
no for
it. I'm like, oh, shut the fuck up.
So
please just say "tit" or something. Give me anything.
I like the lyrics on this song. The lyrics are actually one of the reasons that I actually really enjoy it. In that it's basically about telling the past to fuck off, and the name of the song, "Known for It," is like, oh yeah, you're known for this thing or that thing, but you don't want to be known for that thing anymore because you're different.
Yeah, he's known for rhyming "it" 13 times in a row.
Known for it.
Not the worst song ever though. It's not like I hate it. It had a really good beat and flow to it. All that rap terminology.
Track 12, "I Want It, I Need It." This is probably my least favorite.
This is my least favorite track on the album. This is actually a song I personally hate with a passion.
One of the biggest issue that I take with the song is that it's way too long.
It
could have.
Fucking God, it's goddamn long.
It's like 6 minutes and 11 seconds. Ride is constantly pushing the vocals, which is fine, whatever. But it could have gotten the idea across in 3 minutes. This song is all about fucking and sex and being a total sexual degenerate, which is whatever. That's fine. I don't care. The biggest thing that irks me about this song is him screaming "bitch."
Justin, I'm gonna read you down my line of notes, which I always write my notes when I'm listening to the song from start to end, and the lines indicate on like when I notice something. Beat starting in the verse is pretty tight. Guitar coming in at the hook is nice too.
Now, before you go any further, that guitar is actually Pink Floyd samples.
Tight. It sounds really nice.
It does sound really nice. There's actually 2 Pink Floyd samples.
Here's my third line. Bitch, 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 bitch. Next line is, Jesus, there's just so much in this fucking song. My last line is, I literally gave up on this song 2 minutes in. When I was listening to it, I got 2 minutes in and I was like, oh yeah. And then like about like 4 minutes, I'm like scrolling through Twitter because I'm like just not caring anymore. And then finally the song ends. I'm like snapped awake. I'm like, I'm back. Is it done?
Like,
it was just, the verses were just so goddamn long.
Yeah, this song could have been 2 minutes long and would have accomplished the same thing.
It would have done exactly, like, that's when I stopped paying attention because it was just the same thing again.
Like, you could have just cut out all of the bitch and cut out a lot of the repetitivity, and you would have had basically the same song.
Yeah, I think the only thing that actually caught my attention towards the end of the song was when he did the bitch thing again, but instead of it being like bitch, 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 he was like, bitch!
Yeah.
Bitch! And I was like, oh my God, dude,
and he was just
down.
Absolutely breaking his vocal cords doing it.
I was like, holy shit, dude. I hate that song, though.
Yeah.
I do not want it, and I do not need it.
Yeah, it's probably my least favorite on the album. Just so redundant. Track 13, however, I really enjoy.
Blood Creepin'.
Blood Creepin'. So it starts off with like kind of a interesting little drum beat, and then Ride just it's vocal samples of
so
Ride
aggressive.
Going, oh, 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 which I think is supposed to mimic police sirens, given the opening lyrics of the track, which is, hey man, park the car, I have no idea where we are, I think we may have drove too far. And then it's talking about a police car pulling up behind them and they're flipping out because they're completely stoned off their ass.
This whole song is about them like fucking running away from the cops, right?
Running away from the cops, doing a lot of drugs, and then dying.
Yeah.
Which is illustrated in the chorus, which is like fucking pull under the bridge, in the shade, under the highway, digging graves, blood creeping, something or another. I don't remember. And then it's essentially just about them dying because their blood is fucking pumped full of drugs and amphetamines.
Their butt is creeping with some good stuff.
And as you said earlier, his vocals are just off the charts. Like, honestly insane. Pumped up to 11.
I have super aggressive and hyper lyrics going on here. The vocal effects and yelling make it really hard to understand, but it adds to the feeling of the song, so I don't really put it down for that. And it has a really good beat going towards the end there. Like the whole ending of the song, I just really dug.
Yeah, I really enjoyed this track. This is, if I were to rank the tracks on this album, it would probably be Beware and Lord of the Game tied at number 1, then Tachyon, and then Blood Creepin', and then the rest can really get
Mine would be Tachyon and 5D at my top 2. Everything else is in the middle, and then I Want It, I Need It is my bottom.
Yeah, it's your bottom, bitch.
Yeet.
All right, so my conclusion for this album, I have this at like 7.5 to an 8. When I had recommended this album last week, I really kind of was only thinking about the songs that I keep on my phone because those are the songs that I really like. Hell yeah, brother. These are the songs I want to jam to. And like I typically cut little intro tracks or like little interludes because they don't fit well when you're just listening to your phone on shuffle. The issue that I really take with this album as a whole is there's a lot of unnecessary filler with like I Want It, I Need It being so long, and like Known for It, Through the Walls, and Clink could have lost a couple minutes. I mean, even like Guillotine could have been a little shorter, and I like that song quite a bit. The other issue is that this album is so fucking top heavy for me. Like the first 5 tracks are just straight up amazing for me. And then it just dips off in quality. Like, okay, here's an instrumental that's really cool. It's going to last like a minute. Now we're just going to play like some really obnoxious shit. Don't worry about it. Now we're going to do another kind of obnoxious thing that has some really neat sampling, but is otherwise just not very good. Now we're going to move on to another little interlude thing that's really fire, but like also it's only like a minute. Now we're going to move on to like 2 other songs that are just okay. A song that's really way too long and bloated, and then we're gonna end on a great note. Like this could have been a 6-song mixtape with like Blood Creepin', and then Tachyon through Beware, and just could have called it good. Could have been just as good and less filler.
Yeah, so I can agree with that actually. I would have preferred this to be a lot shorter.
Yeah.
Overall, I give this a 5 out of 10. I do not like this album at all, except for a couple exceptions. If this you told me that this is you consider the prime of Death Grips, right?
In hindsight, after re-listening to it, I'm probably gonna have to go with The Money Store because The Money Store has like some more chill. Like in this, MC Ride is always screaming.
Yeah.
And I re-listened to both this album and The Money Store to compare them, and The Money Store has a lot better. It's better production, better. I wouldn't say lyricism. Lyricism on this is pretty good. They're about even on that, but like, there's more versatility by everyone in the group. I do still really appreciate this album, and it holds a very nice little warm place in my heart from like a nostalgia thing, because this is the first Death Grips album I've heard. So like I look back, which is I think why I said it was my peak of Death Grips, because I look back on this so fondly, but after re-listening to all of it, there's only like a couple of tracks that I really like. Hell yeah, brother, this is the shit that I bop. I mean, there's way more tracks that like I can go back and point out on The Money Store that's like, yeah, this is a good one, this is a good one, this is a good one. It's more consistent, whereas this album is like the ones that go hard go really fucking hard, and the ones that are bad are I Want It, I Need It bad.
Yeah. So yeah, as I said, 5 out of 10. If this is what most Death Grips is like, I don't see why everyone likes them that much. I mean, I obviously personal taste for everyone, but I always hear so much good things about Death Grips. Like, oh my god, the new Death Grips album is gonna come out. Oh, it's gonna be so fucking good. I'm like, wow, everyone really likes Death Grips. It must be an incredible band. And then I heard this album and I was like, not really seeing where everyone's coming from here. Some of the most, not all, but a lot of the songs, the beats were just bland and boring. The sampling carried it, but the beats themselves, like the kicks, the snares, the hi, the actual drums, were just pretty lackluster. The lyricism, I think, is extremely good. This dude can write a fucking story, and if he wanted to, I'd read a book that he wrote. Maybe if I could get through 8,000 pages. But his delivery for me holds it back the most. The consistent same connotation of the line with the holding the note at the end, the yelling the whole time didn't really bother me that much. There's one song, I can't remember which one it was, where he's actually not yelling. It might have been I Wanted, I Need It, honestly.
Yeah, I Wanted, I Need It on the chorus. Yeah. He's not yelling.
Yeah, and he's just like a normal rap talking, and I'm like, this sounds bad now. I've been so used to your yelling.
Yeah, he definitely goes hard on the yelling.
And then there's so much potential and like shit with all these songs, but there's just so much pushed into them that they felt so cluttered and like over the top, and it didn't really need to have so much in it that I just could not handle all of it. And I Wanted, I Need It is the prime example of that. There's just way too fucking much in there. And not that I don't like fucking like complex songs, but sometimes you gotta learn when to hold back, buddy. And we all know you want to just want to cream on the whole cake, but sometimes you just gotta get a little corner piece, you know?
Yeah. So album art for this one.
I saw that.
I actually really like the album art on this.
I like the story behind it.
Yeah, it's like a nice little folded. It looks like it's folded. Piece of paper that's like a photograph of like a really, really tripped out looking black dude in like the middle of the jungle, and he just looks like he's ready to kill a man.
Yep. And apparently the story behind that is it's literally just a picture one of the bandmates had in his wallet for like 10 years. And they're like, let's just use that. Okay.
Yep, this will work.
And then the text on it is literally like MS Paint,
it's
word art.
Yeah, like it's clearly not high effort, which is kind of the aesthetic of the band, kind of.
I mean, songs,
the music is high effort, but like everything else is like super, super B tier. Like, I don't know if you watched any of the music videos.
I did not.
Okay, so like the music,
I heard that the music video for Guillotine is super popular, but I was like, I do not like this song enough to watch the video.
So this is what the music video for that. He's like hanging out in a car, and he's just like rapping, and there's like a really shitty like old style what the hell are they called? The old video cameras. They had a name, like an abbreviated name.
No, that's the type of TV is CRT.
Whatever. It doesn't matter. It's like one of those old shitty handheld cameras, and it's like hoisted up in the corner of this car, and he's like spitting his bars or whatever, and then he hits the guillotine part, and everything that isn't him goes completely VHS fuzz. Like, whoa. Completely. It's honestly, it's pretty cool.
I wanted to see somebody get decapitated.
No. That did not happen. But I mean, it's very low budget. Very low budget. A lot of the aesthetic for their music videos, low budget. Album covers, somewhat low budget. I mean, like on one of their other tracks called "Giving Bad People Good Ideas," the entire music video is literally them just tearing apart an old leather shoe and like walking it around. It's goofy. I love it.
I can see why I'm guessing the reason people mostly like them is the personality.
No.
Really? Are they assholes?
No. They're actually like super reserved.
Really?
Yeah. MC Ride, the vocalist that like goes absolutely wild. He doesn't give interviews at all because he's super shy in person.
Oh, because like the way I see it from like what you've described and what I've heard, it seems like the way they do all their shit, like music videos, songs is just such like a personal style to them that like I see that's why
Yeah.
people like it. It's because it's like an original, their own thing that nobody can really copy. Because
I mean, honestly, that's most of their music too, because like all of their albums sound different. This one is very rough around the edges, as we can see from a lot of the filler on this one. Yeah, like all of their other albums are so much tighter. They're so much tighter and well performed, but they're all extremely different. So, for example, their next album sounds like their big commercial debut, which is what it was. It was like on a big label. They got it out there, and then they immediately followed it up with another album that they released away from the label because the label wanted them to wait another year. And they're like, okay, well, we're just going to release it on the internet for free. And the album cover is just going to be a picture of Zach Hill's penis. Don't worry.
Nice.
And the production on that one is absolutely off the chart. I don't know what's happening. It's just insane. And then their next album, Government Plates, is like, okay, well, we're just going to make minimalist, repetitious stuff. We're just going to repeat a lot of shit, a lot of loops, and we're just going to go from there. And then their next album is a double album, and it's like, they just...
Didn't they just release one?
Yes,
like this
and
year?
It's entirely different from anything else they've ever released.
Was it rated well? Highly?
Anywhere from high 70s to I've seen 10 out of 10s. So
maybe I'll listen to it.
It's,
I think I have to give these guys more of a shot, aside from just their first original
I mean,
work.
It took me a lot of time to actually get into this. Like,
I mean, I'm gonna be real. I did listen to this album like 5 or 6 times.
Oh yeah,
so, like,
and like when the first track I heard was Tachyon Deathyon, which is a very good intro track because it sets you up for what to expect. But then I kind of went away from it, and then a couple months later, I came back and I listened to it again. And I'm like, oh wow, this sounds a lot better than I remembered. And then I left it, and then I came back and I listened to Tachyon and Guillotine, and I'm like,
so maybe I shouldn't
Guillotine is really difficult for me to really comprehend. I don't really care for it. And then I left again, and then I came back, and that's when I was like, okay, I get it now.
What you're saying is that I shouldn't be force feeding myself, and I should be taking little bites every so often.
Yeah, like just a little nibble.
Not chucking all that food down my throat like I'm some Billy and Mandy cartoon where fucking he eats so much that it's sticking out of his mouth, and it's like, that's actually disgusting. That's a vivid image in my mind.
That's a very old reference. Holy shit. That's
so
you're dating us. Oh my gosh, we're so old.
Yeah, I'm 86.
I'm 300 now.
Shit, dude.
So,
when's the new Death Grips album coming out?
Okay, so for next week, we're doing something a little different.
A little theme here.
A little different. We're doing albums that we personally feel are trash.
Yeah.
And this
may not actually be trash to everyone.
Yeah,
but
like
us ourselves personally think are bad.
Yeah, like maybe the production is really rubs us the wrong way, or maybe we just absolutely hate the songs. These could be like really popular albums.
I could be just saying an entire pop album, but I'm not going to do that because that's too easy. Yeah, you could just say like, oh yeah, Justin Bieber, but that's too easy.
Yeah, that's really easy pickings. And for me anyway, this is an album that I used to enjoy quite a lot when I was going through those middle school years where I was like, yes, I'm an edgy boy and nobody understands me. The album that I am picking is oh crap.
You forget
Puddle of Mud, Come Clean.
How's that "come" spelled, by the way?
C-O-M-E. It's not the filthy kind. It's not like fuck the music, make it come kind.
Oh, okay. Puddle of Mud, Come Clean. Want to give me a little insight into this album? Maybe genre?
Post grunge.
Okay.
You'll probably know the big single off of this one. She Fucking Hates Me.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh.
Yeah.
Oh, this is that?
Yeah.
Oh, dude, that's middle school, dude.
Yeah, it's very middle school.
That's so middle school.
It's very middle school.
All right. Well, I'm excited to hear it. My album that I will be recommending to you is Fog by Ether Teeth. E-T-H-E-R. Ether? I'm not entirely sure.
Well, I'm just going to start off by saying I like the name. This one at least sounds kind of cool. Ether Teeth is...
It is an experimental folktronica.
I'm less excited now.
Released in 2011, I think, or 2013, one of the two, by a single dude in like Minnesota. I found this album one of the times you were actually with me. We went to what used to be Exchange, and they had the whole wall of CDs in the back.
Yeah.
And I used to have this habit of just finding a random CD and buying it just to see what it sounded like. And I bought this CD and I put it in my car. And after listening to 3 songs, I turned it off. And I hadn't listened to it ever since because I didn't want to ever have to listen to it again. But I did recently because I have it on our server now, and was just as bad as I remembered it. And then I thought of this, let's listen to a bad album. And I was like, this is the one I think of every time. It's actually not like produced that bad. It's just
you'll bad.
Hear. It's just a bad. You'll get to it. So you at home, Ether Teeth's Fog. Ether Teeth's Fog. I'm not entirely sure.
And Puddle of Muds.
And Puddle of Muds Come Clean. So yeah, that'll be for next week. It will be hopefully a rip-roaring good time of tearing people apart because we're too nice sometimes.
See, I have a feeling that I'm just gonna get real sad. And this is really to illustrate that yes, there is a low scale to our reviews.
I mean, this is a low score I've given.
Yeah, you've given it a 5, and you were like, I don't like this album, which to me is like 5 is like okay, well.
I mean, I've already said that my rating chart is based off enjoyment.
Yeah,
but it happens.
Mine as well.
It's partial enjoyment, partial like production, and a lot of the points for this go to the production. So so 5 is still like I'll listen to it. If it gets below 5 is when I'm saying
maybe have some reservations.
Yeah, think about it. Like really question your own life if you wanna check this album out. But I guess that's it for today, huh?
I guess
we
so.
We reviewed some great songs today. I missed 3 of them. Feels good. I'll go make sure to listen to those on the way back.
Anyway,
later.
We've been your hosts, Justin Horn.
And I'm Trey Gracielny. And remember to check out the albums we just recommended. Follow us on every form of social media known to man. We got our MySpace back up, baby. Woo!
We have MySpace?
Now we do.
Shit,
you can follow me on Twitter at TheRealHisuya. And I guess my Twitch is the same thing. I don't know.
I'm also on Twitter now. Again, it's like Crescent Kami or something like
Crescent Moon Kami.
Yeah, Crescent Moon Kami.
I believe it could just be Crescent. Well, it'll be in the description. Don't fucking worry about it.
You'll figure it out. I'm not super active on there, but you never know. I might beat my meat in your direction every now and then.
You might toss a twit that way. You might twit out.
I might take my twit out.
So, thank you all for joining us. Goodbye.
Chug, 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 chug.